going on, everybody? The day has finally come for us to reveal our full recipe video to you all. We've been looking forward to this for quite some time, and this is going to go under our Verdict Squad Kitchen playlist. I know it's been quite a while since we last updated our Verdict Squad Kitchen playlist with a new video. We've been wanting to do this for quite some time now, like I said. So for this full recipe video, it's actually going to be in two parts just to make it a little easier for people to follow and to watch both videos. So this is going to be part one, and part two will be released later on in this week. So for those of you who have seen our Instagram teasers, there were 4 in total. Try to give some clues and a little bit of an idea of what our recipe is comprised of. For those who have seen it, you already have a pretty good idea of what to expect. For those of you who haven't seen it yet, we're finally going to reveal to everyone what our recipe actually is, and it's going to be a chocolate-covered bacon recipe dipped in Oreos and Reese's Pieces. And if you can't see back here, if you can see above the camera and above the back of the chair, we already have our ingredients already prepped. We already have our pan ready, and then we're also going to be ready when we're finally going to dip our bacon into the chocolate once it's melted, and we're going to put it in the fridge. So we're going to be ready, but that's going to be later on for part two. For part one, we're going to walk you through every step of the recipe, try to give a few tips, just share a little bit on some recommendations on why we chose certain ingredients, why we chose certain flavors over others, give a little bit more of a background on like what inspired us to actually create this recipe to share with all of you. Like we said, we're really excited to be sharing this. I know you've been very patient, so thank you to everybody who's been patient. You guys deserve a round of applause. Thank you for waiting. I know it's been a long time. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it and get started with our chocolate-covered bacon recipe. To begin our recipe, we already have our pan with our oil on the bottom of the pan. Now you could use a non-stick pan to not have to worry about any cooking spray or oil, but just for the sake of this recipe, we want to make sure our bacon is not just well done, but evenly cooked. We put some oil on the bottom of this pan, and for the bacon that we selected, it's Applewood smoked bacon, but again, whatever you have at your grocery store, or if you shop online, whether it's Amazon or wherever else you shop at, any type of bacon that you believe would be able to cook evenly and nicely and just over a stove in a pan like this would work just fine. But just for our recipe, we picked Applewood smoked bacon. And another reason why we picked Applewood smoked bacon is because we wanted to add another flavor to our recipe overall, other than just the sweeter flavors that we would get from the Oreos and the Reese's Pieces, and also the melted chocolate wafers that we're going to be sharing with you in just a little bit. So we wanted to add and combine a few different flavors other than just sweet and tangy, and also we want to combine all these flavors into an awesome recipe for you guys. So we're going to show you guys what is going to be dipped into this bacon after it's prepped. As you guys can see here, this is what's going to be a part of our bacon recipe. Here we have our dark chocolate flavored Oreos. And again, Oreos now come in a variety of flavors and different flavors that you can actually pick. Anything just from s'mores to strawberry shortcake to double stuffed to golden Oreos to whatever it is that you want to pick. Now, for the sake of this recipe, pick dark chocolate Oreo. Just because we're going to try to combine a little bit of like the chocolate cream into our mixed over here in this other bowl here, and then also just because we felt like instead of the double stuff, it would be easier to be able to mix in together. Now, with that being said, we also have our Reese's Pieces here. We're also going to be combining as well, and with the Oreos and Reese's right here, we've already been mixed up into this bowl right here. So these will be dipped from the chocolate that's been melted onto that's already been on the bacon. So after the bacon is cooked, we will dip our chocolate here after it's been melted. So we have both milk chocolate wafers we will melt and also white chocolate wafers. And then also just a quick rundown of the prices here. The Reese's Pieces, that was $1. And also for the Oreos here, these were $2.50. And also the milk chocolate wafers and the white chocolate wafers, those were each 1 pound bags that we bought at the store, each for $2.79 each. Now, depending on where you are watching from the world, whether it's Canada, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, Belgium, Italy, Spain, wherever it is that you are watching from around the world, wherever you're going to find it at the store too, whatever substitute you can to, you can get melted chocolate, would work just fine. Whether it's Oreos or some other cookie that you would like to have as well, that's also a fine substitute as well. And again, the reason why we picked Reese's Pieces because I like to try to add a little more of a peanut butter type flavor to this bacon recipe. I just don't feel like Reese's or like peanut butter just really is really utilized enough too in the kitchen, especially for our recipe. And I felt like as our kitchen, and especially our Verdict Squad kitchen, should be a place that we should be not afraid to try bold recipes and to try to actually combine new flavors and to try to bring something a little more unique than just what you would find normally for dessert items and for bacon. So again, for the melted chocolate here, first we're going to be cooking our bacon, and then we'll get back to our melted chocolate here. We've just turned on our stove, so we're going to wait for our pan to get nice and hot and make sure the oil is like nice and spread evenly throughout the bottom of the pan to make sure our bacon cooks evenly and nicely and also well done. So we're just making sure, like I said before, if you choose not to put oil on the bottom of the pan, that's all right. But again, just for this recipe, we wanted to put some oil on the pan just to make sure that our bacon cooks as well as it possibly can. And as you guys can already hear and see, our bacon's already starting to sizzle and it's already beginning to cook. So we'll also turn over to the other side here for our bacon once it is ready to be flipped. Also, as a personal tip for cooking as well, too, if you're able to, you can even better actually to spread the oil around the bottom of the pan, like so, like I'm doing, just around in a circular motion like this. And again, if you use cooking spray too, whether it's PAM or whatever type of cooking spray you would like, that's also fine too. Right now, just leaving that first one over, it's not quite ready yet. But again, it doesn't hurt to check too as well, because again, we want to make sure that our bacon is ready to go and ready to be dipped in our chocolate and into our Oreos and Reese's. Obviously, for the pan that we used for this recipe, we could have fit a lot more strips of bacon, or at least a few more, but just for illustrative purposes, we only just wanted to just show a few strips. Obviously, we'll be making a lot more, and you'll be seeing that for part 2 when that's coming up. Now it looks like at least one side of our bacon is starting to cook pretty nicely, so we'll just actually go ahead and start turning these over. Just hear that sizzle, whether it's during breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and now dessert. It's always good to hear that sizzle from the bacon. You know, it's flipped. We'll just wait for the other side to cook now. Just checking our bacon again. It looks like it's almost ready to be prepared to be dipped into our chocolate. So we'll make sure to get this ready, and then we'll show you what it takes to melt down our chocolate wafers and what it's going to be to put our bacon into the chocolate and to get them ready for the Oreos and the Reese's. Looks like our bacon is now ready, so once this cools off a bit, we'll head over to our milk chocolate and white chocolate wafers and get those melted down. But first, before we get to our chocolate, we want to make sure we can drain some of the oil, or I should say some of the, well, I should say oil, because that's what we put in the bottom of the pan. We'll drain it onto this parchment paper we put on top of this plate, just to be sure that, not that there's no more splatter, or just be a nice even coat for the chocolate, and then also for the Oreo and Reese's. I definitely recommend using parchment paper too when it comes to making sure the bacon is dried off. You can also take a paper towel as well to dry off the excess oil as well, but again, we just want a nice even coat for our chocolate and Oreos and Reese's, or whatever it is that you decide to add to the chocolate covered bacon recipe, so that you can make the best recipe possible for yourself. If you'd like to try this at home or at a party that you may be going to, or for an upcoming holiday or wedding or celebration or anniversary, whatever it is that you have going on, to be sure that you can impress your friends and family and those you care about with this new bacon recipe you found. Now that our bacon is dried off, we're going to melt our chocolate down. Now for each of these bowls, I would recommend melting these down for 2 minutes each. And again, depending upon how much of a liquid substance or a little more solid that you would like, I would definitely recommend trying to get a balance of both, just so that a coat of chocolate is even on the bacon strips or bacon pieces that you have, just so that all parts of the bacon are covered with whatever chocolate you'd like to pick. It could be milk chocolate, dark chocolate, white chocolate, whatever it is. So we'll melt this down and get ready to dip our bacon in it. While we wait for our chocolate to melt, let us know in the comments below what would be your favorite candy or topping to add to the chocolate covered bacon recipe, or instead of chocolate you would like to add something different. It could not even be a dessert recipe at all too. Instead of chocolate you may dip fondue or whatever it is that you would like to coat your bacon in. Let us know in the comments below. Also, as another tip, which goes without saying, be sure to be careful when you're taking your melted chocolate, whatever is out of the microwave or out of the stove or oven, however you choose to melt down your chocolate. Be sure to either have a towel, something like this, or oven mitts, or whatever it is that you would like to protect your hands to make sure they don't get burned. And also, if for whatever reason, maybe your chocolate, maybe it came out either too much of a liquid style substance, or it's not thick enough, or I should say if it's too thick. And if it's too thick, obviously put it back in the microwave or however you melted the chocolate for a little longer. And if it's more of a liquid substance like this, you can also be sure to either try to have something as a reserve, either maybe have a little more chocolate on the side to try to thicken it a little bit. You can also do that as well too. And also let us know in the comments below too, if you ever melted chocolate or anything you melted and it came out a little more liquidy. Just what would be your tips to thicken whatever sauce or whatever condiment or whatever chocolate that you were trying to melt and it became too much of a liquid substance. Just let us know in the comments below how would you be able to get around that and make it thicker and be able to be more easily coated onto whatever it is you're creating. Now that we have our white chocolate now prepared, I know I'm using the same fork as for the milk chocolate, but then also you just stir it like this, and then be sure that it's also down to a type of substance where it's liquid between thickness and liquid in terms of being able to most easily coat your bacon. So once it's all prepped, we'll dip the bacon into the chocolate. Alright, now we are ready to dip our bacon into our chocolate, just like so. You can either have all of it in one flavor, depending on how many different types of chocolate that you would decide to use. For this one, we're just putting it all in chocolate, just like this. And be sure to have your dish close to you, just so none of the chocolate drips. So it would just be like that. So you go, that's why we have the parchment paper, just so it protects the dish, and then also it'll be more easily helps to solidify the chocolate once you put it in the fridge. But also, we're just going to get ready for the rest of this, and now we're going to put this in again in the chocolate. And then we'll also show you too that even if it's like thicker like this as well too, versus a thinner, more liquid like sauce, we could just show you, we could just put either a thicker, more of a coating on your bacon, or if you just prefer just to have like each half of each strip of bacon, have just half milk, half chocolate, or half milk, half white chocolate, whatever it is you would like. So that being said, we'll just finish up coating our bacon, then we'll put our Oreo and Reese's Pieces on it. Now that we have coated our bacon, we're ready to put our Oreos and Reese's Pieces on top. Now again, you can just either dip them into the bowl of the Oreos and Reese's Pieces that we have here, or you can just have them sprinkled on and just have them stick to the bacon. Now, even if it's too thick or too thin, your sauce, the good news is for a kitchen, even if you screw up, or even if it doesn't come out exactly perfect, you still get to eat it and you still get to enjoy what you created in your kitchen, and especially for us in our Verdict Squad kitchen. Now we're going to coat our bacon. Now, I'm not sure how much of it's going to stick to this, but we'll just find out. And don't worry if not all of it sticks to it as well, too. You don't have to use all of it. It's just good to have like a mix of the Oreos and Reese's Pieces that we decided. Also, the Reese's Pieces for the shell adds a little more color to the bacon as well to help it stand out, especially if you bring it to a party and just want to impress your friends with this recipe. Helps it stand out even more. So there you go. I know it's a little bit, some of it fell off the edges there too. But again, we will put this in the fridge. Now, I'm not sure exactly how long you would plan to keep it in the fridge. If you put it in the freezer, it would not take us long, obviously, but we will put these in the fridge, and then they will be ready once the chocolate has solidified, and they will be ready to go. Alright guys, our bacon is now in our fridge, so that will be the end of part 1 for our recipe video. I want to thank everybody for watching. Stay tuned for part 2, where we show everybody how it's made, and not just that, but how it turns out. Hopefully, we will see all of you back here. I'm looking forward to really seeing how this turns out. Part 2 is going to be amazing. We'll see how our recipe turns out. And then also, we'll be looking forward to that verdict that you guys are always great at delivering. And again, this is the end of part 1. And then, like we said, cleanup is like pretty easy too. Just be careful when you're cleaning the dishes here too with the chocolate. Obviously, just be sure to clean thoroughly, whether it's use a dishwasher or wash by hand. And again, thank you for everybody for watching. And again, part 2 will be out later this week to show everybody how our recipe turned out. Thank you again for watching, and we will see you guys soon for part 2.